Good morning to you, folks. How you all doing today on this Wednesday morning? This is John Adamson with Seeking Light, formerly known as the Rehab and Documentation Guru. And yes, for those who apparently I've had a couple people take issue with me doing these at gas stations. I'm not sitting in a gas spot. I am in a parking spot, just to let you know. So one of the things that bothers me as a Christian, I'm more irritated by other Christians than non-Christians. Because if I'm truly biblical in my understanding about things, then non-Christians do the things they do because they're not Christians. But when you say you're a Christian, you should have certain behaviors evident in your life. And the other thing that generally should take place is that you should speak boldly about truthful things. And there are things related to social media and Christians that are a little bit concerning to me. And this is just my perspective, all right? So you can take this with a grain of salt. But one of the problems I have about social media and Christians is oftentimes they focus on things that I think are relevant to life, important matters, but they don't necessarily focus on what's really important, or they exclude what's really important. Give you an example: babies and puppies. So we all on social media post our favorite babies and puppies pictures. Okay, so I've posted my babies, which are not so babies anymore, obviously because it's a way to share my family with my friends that are on social media. I have a dog. I love dogs. I've occasionally posted a picture of Honey, our dog. She's a guardian dog, takes care of our chickens and ducks. And she's cute too. So, occasional picture goes on there. But I also have taken to social media as an opportunity to share, concerns about what's going on in the world. And I feel that Christians should do that much more regularly. I mean, if we as Christians are meant to be salt and light in the world, we should be interacting more with the world through all means possible. Kind of along the lines of Paul, the Apostle Paul, saying he became all things to all people that he might win some to Christ. With that said, there's nothing wrong with posting babies and puppies on social media. And the reason I bring up babies and puppies, and I know there's cat lovers out there, and I've excluded kittens, but bear with me. Kittens are cute. I'll grant that. I'm just not a cat person. But anyway, the reason I bring up babies and puppies is two particular news stories going on. Now, Anthony Fauci just came under fire recently for his department's funding of, so Anthony Fauci, you might not know his title, but he is director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. So that's his official title. And so he heads a very large department in the government related to medical. And he is responsible, the buck stops with him, about funding of projects that relate to infectious disease. And our country, I don't believe this is good use of money, has funded projects overseas. And it comes through Anthony Fauci's office. And one of the things that he has approved of is a study that was being done, I forget the country, Tunisia. Anyway, on beagle puppies. And so what was being done to these beagle puppies, and this is going to get a little graphic, so bear with me, was they were having their faces locked in cages, and the experiment was allowing this certain kind of fly, parasitic fly, to eat the puppies' faces while they're alive. It's just as horrific as it sounds. And what's even, and think about this too. And this is the level of inhumanity in this. They cut the puppy's vocal cords so they could not howl in pain prior to this. So this is making the news now. And Fauci is having to answer for it. And some people are saying, well, it's not, the U.S. didn't approve it. Well, yes, they did. They ultimately did by giving money to these countries to do these experiments. You can't tell me that somebody in that department didn't know, and the buck stops with the leader. So Anthony Fauci bears culpability in this. So now there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who are calling for his removal. Why, somebody doing something inhumane like this, why would you allow them to stay in their position? And frankly, Anthony Fauci's 81. It's probably about time that he step down and retire. I can think of somebody else who's 81, who's in government, he might be 80 now, who probably should step down. But that's beside the point. So anyway, keep in mind this story about puppies, okay? Now let's talk about babies. Here's something that is only recently come out. Where did it go? Only recently come out, even though it's been known for a little while. Let me see if I can find the dating on this article. All right, so this is a published study in NIH's website, okay? The study is called Human Fetal Scalp Dermal Papilla Enriched Genes and the Role of R. spondin 1 in the Restoration of Hair Neogenesis in Adult Mouse Cells. What is this? This is a study that's been around for a little bit where they took the scalps of 5-month, and again, this is going to get graphic, 5-month gestational babies. So these are babies still in the womb, aborted at age 5 months, scalped, and then that scalp was implanted on a mouse. The mouse's fur was removed from a certain area, and the human scalp was planted on there, and they were looking at human hair growth on these mice. And this is the study that discusses it. Guess who got involved in the funding of that? That's right, Anthony Fauci's office. So we have two tremendously horrific things going on. And what's finally got the public's attention is the puppies. God, and I'm going to correlate this in just a moment. I love puppies. And just wanton destruction of puppies is infuriating. And it's evil. Let's just call it evil, okay? But even worse is the wanton destruction of babies and taking their hair. Now think about this. If you're going to implant living tissue onto something else, you have to harvest that living tissue fast. And there appears to be evidence that these babies were taken out still living and then had these procedures done on them. And we're just hearing about this stuff now. And this has apparently been around for a few months. You can Google image baby scalps on mice. And there's a lot of pictures there, and it's pretty clear. We're not looking at fur anymore. We're looking at baby hair. Both are horrific. Both are evil. But there's a reason that I say, and there's a reason that the baby scalping is more evil, and we should be much more enraged by that. And the reason boils down to Scripture. And I don't have to look any further than Genesis chapter 1. So I'm going to share that with you, just a portion of it. Genesis chapter 1, starting in verse 24. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things and beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Puppies are good. Okay? Animals are good. And yes, I believe, as a meat eater, that animals are in part here to serve us, including for their consumption. But I want my animals that I eat killed in a humane way where they're not tortured, where they're not having to have their vocal folds stripped so you don't have to hear their howling while you allow them to be mutilated on purpose where they're defenseless. That's evil. And I know that God's declared his creation good. But why do I say that it's even a greater atrocity that these unborn babies are being treated that way? Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. After the creation of man, God declares things very good. There's a magnitude of you could say importance about the creation of human beings, who, unlike other creation, are said to be made in God's image. And the other thing about the supremacy of human beings above animals is that human beings are the ones that are called to subdue every other creature. But that subjugation does not mean abuse. And so, yes, this study done on these babies should be enough to eradicate not just Fauci, but anybody involved in this whole situation. But both the babies and the puppies reveal the evil that is involved in this medical research, and the buck stops with Fauci. Because babies and puppies should be enjoyed on social media, not the subject of experiments. This is John Adamson with Seeking Light. Take care. God bless.